Hello everyone, welcome in this month edition of Tax Gurukul, a wonderful initiative by Bombay Chartered Accountants Society to keep all of us updated through recent circulars, notifications and amendments under the income tax provisions. My name is CA Kajal Tekchandani and in this edition I am going to talk about the amendments proposed by Finance Bill 2021 related to TDS and TCS. For better understanding of the provisions, I would like to divide my PPT in three parts. The first part of presentation will cover the amendments under existing provisions of TDS, followed by the second part which will talk about the introduction of new TDS provisions, and third part will be on introduction of new TCS provisions. Let's start with provisions of section 194, which provides that every domestic company, while making the dividend payment to any person, shall deduct the TDS at the rate 10%. However, TDS need not be deducted if the amount of dividend is less than Rs 5,000. Please note that this threshold limit of 5,000 is not applicable in case of a person other than individual. So, if the company is making even ₹1 payment to a person other than individual, TDS provisions will attract it. Now, I would like to draw your attention to second proviso of this section, which provides that there is no need to deduct the TDS on the interest payment paid to any insurance company or insurer. In order to give relief to the business trust, this second proviso of section 194 is proposed to be amended to provide that TDS is not required to be deducted if the amount of dividend is paid to any business trust. This is because maybe the income of business trust is exempt from the Income Tax Act, but due to the earlier provisions, TDS was deductible on such exempted income. Please note that this amendment is applicable with effect from 1st April 2020, that is retrospective amendment. Now let's go to the provisions of section 194A, which provides the TDS reduction on interest other than interest on securities. Subsection number 3 of this section provides a list of situations under which the TDS is not required to be deducted. Clause number 10 of this subsection number 3 provides that if the interest is paid by any infrastructure company, infrastructure capital fund or public sector company or scheduled bank, TDS is not required to be deducted. Now, in order to include the infrastructure debt fund, the provisions of subsection number 3 clause 10 are required to be amended. Please note that the effect of this amendment will be there is no need to deduct the TDS if the interest is paid by any infrastructure debt fund in relation to zero coupon bonds. Now let's go to the provisions of section 194 IB, which provides that any individual or HUF, while making payment of any rent to any person and the amount of rent exceeding Rs 50,000 per month, deduct the TDS at the rate 5%. Subsection number 4 of this section provides that if the deductee has not provided the permanent accountant number, then provisions of section 206AA would be applicable. In order to give reference to the new provisions of section 206AB, the subsection number 4 of section 196 IB are proposed to be amended to give the reference to the new provisions. This new provisions of section 206AB provides a higher rate of TDS in case of specified person. I would like to discuss in detail about 206AB in my subsequent slides. Now, let's go to the provisions of section 196D, which provides that TDS is required to be deducted on the income earned by foreign financial institutions as referred in section 115AD, and the rate of tax is 20%. Earlier, there was no reference to the DTAA between the India and the respective country of FII. Therefore, they were not eligible to claim the credit of DTAA. Now, in order to give the benefit to them, it is proposed to insert a new proviso to section 196D to provide that in case of an FII to whom the provisions of section 90 or 90A applies, TDS is required to be deducted as per the provision of this act, which is 20%, or as per the DTAA whichever is lower. This will definitely increase the interest of FII to make the investment in India. Now here I completed my first part, that is amendments under the existing provisions of TDS. Now let's move to the next part, which is introduction of new TDS provisions. Before starting with the introduction part, I would like to touch upon the provisions of section 139, which requires that every person shall file the return of income if the amount of total income during the preceding financial year exceeds the basic exemption limit. The government may realize that it was difficult for the senior citizen to comply with the requirement of return filing. So in order to give them relief, a new provision is about to be introduced under section 19 under the provisions of Income Tax Act. The new section 194P provides that the specified senior citizens are not required to file the return of income if the TDS is already deducted under this section. Now I am pretty sure that everyone must be thinking, what is specified senior citizens? So the specified senior citizens are the person who are resident in India, who are the age of 75 years or more during preceding financial year, or who is having the income in the nature of pension and the interest from the same bank. The bank should be the specified bank for this purpose, and who give the declaration to the bank in the format required to furnish the income from all sources along with the eligible deductions. Please note that the format of declaration is not yet prescribed by the CBDT. Now, while I was reading about this new section, there were many issues which were coming. The first issue was how this provision will work. So for that, there were some comments that the bank is required to get the declaration from the senior citizen. So once the senior citizen give the declaration including all the source of income plus eligible deduction, then bank will compute the total income of that person after giving the eligible deduction and rebate under section 87 and deduct the TDS equal to the tax computed on such income. The second question was whether the provisions of section 194P are really reducing the burden from the senior citizen. For this, we can see that earlier the senior citizens were required to give the details to their tax consultant to file the return of income, but now they are required to give the declaration to the bank. For that, they have to go to the bank and give the entire details. So in order to see it properly, there is not much reduction in the burden of the senior citizen. The third question was whether the interest will include fixed interest or saving interest, or what type of interest. So yes, the interest will definitely include the fixed interest or saving interest of the specified senior citizen receivable from the banks. This was the kind of issues which were coming while applying the provisions of section 194P. We are also expecting some clarification or the guidelines from the CBDT in this regards. Now let's talk about second new section, which is 194Q, which provides that every person being the buyer of goods whose total turnover or the sales during the preceding financial year exceeds rupees 10 crore. If that is the case, then that person, while making the purchases, and if the amount of purchases is exceeding rupees 50 lakh, should deduct the TDS while making the payment to the seller who is a resident in India at the rate 0.1%. However, if the seller is not providing the permanent accountant number, then TDS is required to be deducted at the rate 5%. Please note that the provisions of this section will not apply in two scenarios. In first case, if the TDS is required to be deducted under any other provisions of this act, or the provisions of section 206, that is TCS, are applicable on the transactions. Now let's move to the third and most important introduced section, which is section 206AB. I would like to take 206AB and 206 CCA together. These provisions are introduced in order to help the people to comply with the return of income. So as per these provisions, if the person is an specified person, then TDS will be deducted at the higher rate. The definition of higher rate for the TDS is twice the rate as per the income tax provisions, or 5%, or twice the rate of rates in force, whichever is higher. In case of TCS, the higher rate is special rate is higher of twice the rate of as per the provisions of this act, or 5%. Now I would like to explain what is a specified person. So a specified person is a person who has not filed the return of income for preceding 2 financial years, and the timeline for filing the return of income as per section 139(1) expires, and aggregate of the TCS and TCS collected in the preceding 2 financial year does not exceed rupees 50,000 in each. So that person will be treated as a specified person, and TDS will be deducted at a higher rate. So it can be seen that this provisions has introduced a burden to the assessee who are required to deduct the TDS, because earlier the assessee was just required to see whether the deductee has PAN or not, and if deductee was not having the PAN, they were simply required to deduct TDS at the rate 20%, which is higher as per the provisions of section 206AA. But now they have to check whether that person has filed the return of income for 2 immediate preceding financial year, and if not, then TDS should be deducted at higher rate. But along with it, they also require to check whether the amount of TDS or TCS is exceeding rupees 50,000 in each of the preceding 2 financial years. This will definitely increase compliance burden to the deductor of the TDS. The initiative behind this introduction may be the government want each and every person to file the return of income. This is what this is what I had prepared for this presentation. So thank you so much for your time. We would like to receive the suggestions or comments at bcastaxation@gmail.com. Thank you.